assume as long as I'm talking. Also, I think you shouldn't. He is getting loud.
No, it's great. I love it because he's basically the Commander Riker of your household. Because he's
He
playing
has
the
his
trombone,
first.
he's going to be into some jazz.
No,
It's
not
going to be
even the
great.
trombone. This is a baritone. This is not. No. He went lower
Oh,
octave. It's even
good.
deeper, bassier.
Wah, 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 wah,
Absolutely, yeah. No,
wah.
his first performance in the marching band is tomorrow night at the first game for the high school.
Dig
Yours truly,
it.
obviously, is volunteering, so I'll be there as well. Mom is there as well. Parents are required to volunteer. Sorry, I'm making it sound
Yeah.
like it's.
Oh,
I
I
mean, I
just
would have
finished
loved to be in the
all.
bleachers watching the game, but no, I got to be a hall
I
of
just
sorts.
finished all of my my paperwork to be an official assistant coach
Oh, okay, good.
for fall ball. So no,
Nice.
I'm with you. They get their hooks in, man.
Oh, dude, no.
Parents doing a lot.
We had an orientation on Tuesday night, an hour and a half, explaining to us all of the things we are doing to support the kids. And
It's
we're
lovely.
all doing this volunteering, which is great. I mean, don't get me wrong. Look, there's the volunteering part. There's the pep rallies, the fundraisers, and something called Rampage, which apparently we're supposed to be part of now as well.
Very cool.
It is absolutely cool. I'm hoping he gets to have the experience of a lifetime. I loved and I remember high school very fondly. Even though I didn't
Yeah.
have a lot of years of high school in the U.S., I started high school back in Lebanon and I finished it off here. I still enjoyed high school here, the independence. I was already 17, 18, so it was a lot of fun. So,
Sure.
anyways, that's been part of my week. Super busy week, starting off with a lot of drama, still kind of a little bit of drama kind of
For
going
sure.
on, and then day job just kicking my butt, man.
Yeah.
Like everything showed up.
It's just compounding. I mean, like
Yeah.
I was on conference calls, I was doing pitches. I've got another just sort of like editing project that I don't. It's like, man, I got to get them bills paid.
Dude, I actually do really like, by the way, that little cup thing that I got when we were up last week on our vacation.
Yeah.
Vacation, vacation. On
I
our trip.
mean,
Was
because
it a vacation?
Google owes me money. I don't know about you, but
I no, I did.
we were supposed to have. I'm getting ready to pull posts because I put like hashtag gift from Google travel and accommodation paid for to be on this trek,
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. 'Cause
and they haven't compensated anything that they said that they were gonna put out there. So the fact that this PR agency has now gone completely radio silent, I'm
Mhm.
getting close to blowing it all up. And then also, am I gonna have to do small claims court? What are we doing here? Because we had an agreement in writing
It
that
was an
this would
agreement
be
in writing.
covered.
Yeah, and it was.
But I'm at this point, I'm not even like mad about like how they failed to seed phones. I'm mad that I didn't put in a pre-order. I should have followed your play. Put
I
in a pre-order.
honestly, I've
We
been doing
have
this for so many years now. Regardless if I know I'm getting a device or not, I like even with
yeah.
Samsung, I always put in
I
a pre-order because
I
I can
should
always
have.
cancel it. Yeah.
I had the feeling too. Jojo the Techie, hello everyone, up late for
Hey,
no reason at all. Thank you for joining the stream. Jojo the Techie is going to be kind enough to ship out a loaner. So
nice.
I will get to play with a Pixel,
Hmm.
and none of that will be public because right now Google is not talking to us, and they've gone completely radio silent.
I
And I would
honestly,
like to
yeah.
treat my patrons
Hmm.
as having supported my channel. So that coverage will all be going to patreon.com/somegadgetguy. And I'm going to put together a little thank you video for
Hmm.
Jojo the Techie. And if the Google PR people haven't gotten back to us about what's going on, then it will be a combo video thanking Jojo for coming in clutch, helping
Hmm.
me after I made a stupid, terrible mistake and not putting in a pre-order. And then also, I guess we just got a name and shame. I guess Google is just not a reputable company to do business with
I
anymore.
I think they're still in a very big.
Or JoJo saying you don't have to do that one. She's like, oh, don't call me out. So that's
Just thank the Patreon. That's it. Let's just thank the Patreon.
I'll send her like maybe an edible arrangement. I don't even know if that's still a thing. That company could have gone out of business 5 years ago.
You know
really
what? I want to
know.
say that there used to be one near my house, and I don't think they've been open for some time. I would double check. I would double. No, seriously. I think we still have somewhat COVID amnesia. There is just a lot of things that have changed over the pandemic.
I have no idea what
never
businesses
remember.
are still
and
open.
then and we just go back to like, so when was the last time you actually ordered an edible or received one? 4 years ago, 5 years ago,
Michael Peppertech straight on point though. What kind of edibles, Juan?
Okay, so I was trying to keep it legit, Michael. I actually caught his drift when he said it. I was like, wait a minute. I mean, are we talking, just the the relaxation type of edible, or are we talking just
I'll reach out to JoJo. I don't want her to like air what her preferences are or something like that. Indica, sativa, whatever she's kind of vibing on. Because
you know what, I'll say this: seeing JoJo, seeing all of the other creators that we've known and we've followed and we haven't seen for some time. Heck, man, even just the fact that we were both on this trip, to me, that was already a step above a lot of some of the other things that I've done. But it was just, I miss traveling with you. You know what I mean?
No, I again,
even if you're
I love all that.
Plane, I miss traveling with you.
I would love to. I would love to tackle more of these trips, travel together, really do all that without the background being a $1 trillion corporation throwing us under the bus and then reneging on their promises of how they were going to handle this situation, and that being the story I'm most focused on instead of just getting to enjoy a phone launch. Because now it's like I'm starting to call into question some of these reviewers who were media who got the phone early, and it's like these reviews aren't really reviews of the phone. And I'm starting to get the feeling.
Did you notice the trend?
It's a lot of reviewing of AI cloud features, not the phone.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling there's, if I were handling Apple, my playbook would be, what is Apple talking about the most? And that's what I'll feature in my videos. So you get a passing comment that the fingerprint sensor is better. You get a passing comment that the battery life has improved. And then it's AI. And that seems like it's cribbed directly out of Google's messaging. So if I wanted to play nice, again, because our reputations were called into question being a part of Teampixel. So to extend that favor to people that were talking trash about Teampixel members and influencers, if I wanted to stay on Google's good side, to maintain the best relationship I could with Google, to monetize as aggressively as I could, where people like us won't be a part of that initial push, I would definitely want to focus on what Google is talking about with AI. That's how I would stay on Google's good side. Not focusing on Tensor G4 performing about the same as the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1. It would be to talk about, oh, look at this new editor in the photo app does generative content fill when you upload to a server and video boost.
You still have to actually back up the images. This is one thing I was surprised.
Yes.
It's supposed to be on device. But if you take an image and you try to edit it and try to do some of that generative stuff, it needs to be backed up. I'm like, okay, why do you need to be backed up?
It's dumb.
Yeah.
It's so dumb.
Look, there has to be a clear delineation of what's on, what's off device. Selling us a device, and I'm not trying to point fingers specifically at the Tensor. I'm just talking in general. When companies point to AI, they love the ambiguity of the word, and they like to throw as much gray area around it so that people do not know what is actually being done on device, what is the device doing. I mean, having an HN3, an HN4 that's going to be announced literally in like whatever August, right? Mid-August. So in October, we're going to get an HN phone announcement, right? And the new Xiaomi phone will probably drop, all of that good stuff. But for all that we're getting with all the AI stuff, what is running on device? What is the HN4? What is the NPU actually running if all of this stuff is Google server side? If you have to upload stuff, what's the point? And
Yeah.
what I will say with the literally little over 24-hour hands-on with the 9 Pro XL, it's nice, it's fun. I've probably played a little bit with it, but I don't think this is something that I'll be jumping into all the time. I mean, the phone runs the way the Pixel 7. It runs pretty much as you like you said. It's a 7 Pro, an 8 Pro to the next level.
Well, a reviewer said that it throttled a whole bunch, but that didn't really bother him. It didn't. It wasn't that it throttled so bad that it bothered him. So it's fine.
The throttling.
Now it matters when we put out Antutu Geekbench scores for other chips.
So,
but on the Pixel, it didn't bother a reviewer. So I read an article and it didn't, and so it's fine.
So
it doesn't matter.
I asked that.
Nothing matters when you need to just do basic things on $1,000 phone. It's fine.
$1,200 phone. The 9 Pro.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Not,
it's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine,
yeah.
TK.
Okay.
Just it's fine.
I need to take a chill pill. I get it.
Throttling only matters when it matters. So like if you run a OnePlus 12 too hard and it throttles a little, well, I mean that's a reason why you would never buy a OnePlus because it's not good enough. But a Pixel throttling worse than a Dimensity 9300, well, that's probably not gonna affect you, so it's fine. I'm super bitter about this. It drives me crazy how poor
how the first wave was done. Yeah, I know.
Well, and then also that again, it's like wrapped up in all of this stupid behind the scenes sausage making, how you interact with a company, how you interact with a PR agency, but it really shines a light to me. We have completely given up on actual phone performance testing. Like so few people do what you do, where you're running games and you're trying to showcase like this is the kind of experience that I was looking at, and then I use my phone for work, not just oh, well, you're going to own a $1,200 phone and you're only going to do the basics on it because that's what phones are for. Phones do phone things. And it's galling. And there's no audience. I mean, again, we're talking to the audience for actual phone performance testing right now. Like the 20 people on YouTube who are actually interested in what can this do after we've been promised generation after generation after generation of performance uplift. For some reason, we demand a manufacturer say, this is 15% more giggle flips than the last generation. But then we also have an entire cottage industry of tech reviewers who are like, oh, but it's fine if it just kind of overheats to the point of falling behind a Snapdragon 660. It's fine. Because what are you really doing on your phone anyway? You just don't do anything like that. It's great.
No, I watched a few videos when I started seeing the trend. I stopped trying to see different points of view because it was a trend, and you could see that it was repetitive. And I feel like either they
it was like everybody took the same playbook, and again, it's like there's something really special about a Pixel.
Yeah,
and I feel even Google is starting to lose the thread on what made their first-party in-house phone different. And when you bring up things, like you shared a photo with me and you're like, I really had to guess what was the Pixel and what was the iPhone. I guessed correctly, but it's like, you know what, man? I was close to a coin flip. It could have gone either way. It wasn't that I definitely knew that was the Pixel, that was the iPhone. I'm so tired of even the manufacturers looking at this landscape of homogenized, boring devices and saying,
like, if people like the iPhone so much, we'll make a Pixel that pretty much looks like an iPhone with the exception of the visor. I just when I was
you're telling people to go buy the iPhone,
pretty much, yeah, because you feel like that's a better design. You feel like what you're doing is not good enough.
Why buy the imitator?
No, the phone has I know it's one of those. It's hard when you have so much drama around the device that it takes away from the validity of what the device can do and cannot do and what it's supposed to do. And I understand Google. I mean, we've seen Google push AI. I mean, heck, remember even at I/O, it was practically an AI presentation. And what we saw with when you and I were up there, it was almost like a repeat version of that, with the exception of
It really
AdMe.
was. It was a it was
There
a
was a
condensed
couple of
version.
there was a couple there was a couple of new features that we saw that weren't talked about before. This is the first Pixel to launch with an existing version of Android, not the latest version of Android. So when they're saying that they're going to give us 7 years, it's including this.
Yep.
There's a few changes going on. I mean, Android 15 obviously it will come out in the next month or so. But it's
it
weird.
will.
Yeah, but it's
and there's your first operating system
upgrade.
So
Yeah.
1 year has actually
one.
just been accomplished in like 2 months.
Yes.
I'm so bitter about that. I want to be having more fun, but it's like, yeah, like even my private Discord, it's been a little dire in the conversation where, man, I'm looking internationally. I'm looking at Oppo. I'm looking at Xiaomi. I'm looking at Vivo. These are companies that are doing fun things.
Yep. Yep.
We're not getting the full flavor of Motorola here. We're not getting the full flavor of Oppo, but man,
Oppo,
OnePlus has been putting out bangers all year.
Moto pretty much took a step back this year.
Yeah.
We don't have the Edge. We didn't get the series. We got the Flip. And don't get me wrong, that's a great phone, but their flagship device from 2023 is still technically the best version of their phone in the US
care.
This day. Yeah.
I can't care when the entire global market for phones with a hinge is still a little less than 1.5% of the total smartphone market after 6 years of putting out flips and folds. And it's killing me because we put all of this interest into the novelty of a bendy plastic folding screen. It's rumor. I mean, analysts are saying if Apple puts out some kind of foldable in the next year or two, by 2028, it might be almost 5% of the global smartphone market. Whoa! With almost 10 years in the
Apple
market
to invent foldables. Is that what that what I'm listening to you? You're saying that basically it hasn't come back
5%.
Oh my God.
So I get it. I get when we focus on novelty, and websites will say like, hey, the most interest that we're seeing in our articles and videos are on these like foldables and flips and books and mini tablets. But no one's buying them. Even with all of the successes we hear, like 500% sales increase over last year. Yeah, that might be 500 phones. If the last year you sold 100.
Oh my God.
Cool.
No. I get the you're right. In the grand scheme of things, percentages are percentages, right? You're right. If you sold 10 phones and suddenly you sold 100 phones, then like congratulations, you did 10 times better than you did last year.
Yeah.
But what I will say, I have within the last year to this year, I have seen more foldables, not flip phones, on the market. But I've seen also more the people gravitating towards the flip more. I still personally prefer the foldable over the flip. The flip is a great design, an amazing device. I think Moto has a great success on their hand with both the Razr Plus and the Razr Standard.
I have been seeing a few more of those.
But my form factor will always be like the OnePlus Open style. That to me is a form factor I appreciate. I think Google copying that a little bit this year is good, but it's a little.
But also, TK, how rough is it? I don't have my hands on the phone.
No, we don't.
I cannot comment to the actual performance of a Pixel 9 Pro Fold.
Yeah.
It bothers me that the only thing that we're calling Pro is what makes the AI better, which is more RAM.
Yeah.
I don't like that that's a Pro feature because you're not really giving us Pro AI.
No.
But how rough is it that Google refreshing from the Pixel Fold to the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, significant architectural changes, a 2-generation new SoC, significantly more RAM, and it's still getting beat by OnePlus taking an off year on the Open. The Open is crushing.
Yep.
It is such a good device.
And even when it comes to that, Honor's jumping in at the game, and I
Yeah.
saw a video on SuperSaf was showing us thinness. They're launching the V3, I think, or the V3. I forget. Yeah, they think the V3. They're launching that actually in the next couple of weeks, and that phone already is thinner than what Google's trying to put out. And
so they were the thinnest foldable for what, a week?
No, I mean,
we were the thinnest foldable under embargo.
While we were holding it in our hand, there was some success on that market, and I appreciate that. But no, look, I like what Google does, but I personally don't like the first generation of the Fold. On the Pixel Fold, I had it in my hand for literally not even about a couple hours maybe. I think I went over to our buddy Josh's place, and I was hanging out with him and just playing with it a little bit. And to me, I knew it wasn't the right phone. I mean, to me, and this was before the Open. This was before the OnePlus Open came out. At the time, I was still, I felt like this was Google's first foray into this, but they apparently never opened up a channel that covered a foldable prior to that date. They finally updated the hardware. They gave us a thinner design. The cameras the cameras on the Fold are not the same cameras on the Pro. I don't know why people are saying that.
It's not a Pro.
Yeah, it is not the same camera.
Not a Pro.
Nope. They're very much focusing again, we still need Android 15 to try to help us a little bit with more maybe desktop experiences, but they're still not trying to focus on that experience. It's still pretty much just Android adapting to a larger display.
And it's things that, so to your point about the cameras, it's the frustration that we don't have tech reviewers that really test this stuff. Because if you fire up the Pixel Fold, Google is doing things that Samsung used to do. So
are you talking about the HDR stuff or the sharpening? Or?
No. I mean, like, so you've got a sensor, and you're advertising the sensor at a certain resolution. And technically, the sensor that's in the phone, it's kind of like Sony did.
Oh,
it's a 1-inch type sensor, but we're really only using
it's a crop. Yeah, it's a crop on a 1-inch sensor, so we crop that down. We're omitting the crop word. Yeah,
and Samsung does this a lot, where it's really a 10 megapixel sensor, but will up-res all of your photos so they look the same at 12 megapixels. That's dumb, and 20% of your resolution is just faked. But Google did that even worse with the Pixel Fold.
Yeah.
So they're saying, hey, this is a 10 megapixel sensor. But then to get the crop factor for the zoom, the equivalent focal length, they've cut away, so it's really only shooting an 8 megapixel RAW, which then they up-res to 12.
Even less, so even more resolutions lost at that one. You're just upscaling everything.
They fake 50% of the resolution from the telephoto sensor on the Pixel Fold. And I pointed this out in my camera review, but again, there's not much of an audience for that kind of technical deep dive. Those photos are BS. I mean, I almost kind of feel like when you hear about those gimmicky court cases, like, well, how can we really trust what the camera is doing with all of the camera software faking things in the photo? Well, yeah, like 50% of the resolution was upscaled.
Try taking
from the Pixel
an
Fold.
image of the moon. You'll see exactly how much stuff is in there.
It's beautiful. Actually, I did that with my S24 Ultra camera review. I have a sample there. It's a cloudy night, so the moon was just like kind of an opaque circle, but the S24 Ultra was still able to paint in all the craters that you could not see through the clouds that we had. Juan, but it's totally legit.
That is the Samsung Galaxy.
Totally
Magic.
not.
It's Samsung Galaxy Magic. You know what it is.
We have the shoot through clouds feature on the Galaxy. But this is what's frustrating is that should matter to someone. I pull out the OnePlus Open, and the telephoto on that thing is a monster. The main camera is embarrassing, my Pixel Fold. This is a phenomenal photography setup. And of course, OnePlus and Oppo, they've got some of their hijinkery too. I don't always love what they do with skin tone, but they're not making up half the resolution of your photo.
Yeah, no,
they're not degrading these images just to achieve a farther equivalent focal length. So like it's a 50 megapixel sensor, you've got the whole sensor, you're shooting off the whole thing. And no one seems to call out those kinds of shenanigans on Google and Samsung. It's really frustrating that if you think you care about photography, that should be one of the strengths of a Pixel, and you don't have those shenanigans on a Pixel 8 Pro. But that is not the camera setup that you're going to have on the Pixel 9 Pro Fold.
No, it's. I think for the most part from last year, all they did was just change the telephoto sensor, if I'm not mistaken. They went up to a 45 or 40 megapixel. Either way,
I'd be curious to see what they've actually done, because it looks very similar in terms of focal lengths and field of view.
Yeah.
So if it's an upgrade, that's great. But if we have a 48 megapixel sensor, but then really you're still only spitting out like 10 megapixel raw, then all they're doing is cropping and doing like a pre-crop so that you can have a longer field of view, a longer equivalent focal length. Like that's the same thing that it's less severe, but I called this out on the Xiaomi 13 Ultra.
Yeah.
Where the medium telephoto, because it's a 4-camera sensor, the medium telephoto is actually a lot wider.
Mm-hmm.
So they're pre-cropping to get you that like 3 times zoom, but that's not really what the sensor captures if you shoot a RAW file. At least if you shoot RAW, you can get the whole sensor, but it's less of a telephoto effect. On a Pixel, if you shoot RAW, they just crop it for you, and they call that the DNG, but then the JPEG suddenly has 50% more resolution. How do you do that? I'm sorry, Google's image processing is not that good. No one's that good.
No one. I think there's a lot of. It's a software game, and the problem with it that I'm still even challenging with. We are at Tensor G4. We are at AI goodness, the best that Google can offer for 2024, and it still mind boggles me that if I take an image and I jump into the gallery, the image isn't ready. It still needs time to process. We're still haven't reached the level of I take an image. I mean, I'm not saying burst. I'm just taking one image. I still need to wait for it to finish processing, and I feel like it's either a combination of the storage configuration that they're using, the storage and the RAM speeds that they're going, because I don't think they're going for the same levels like what Xiaomi usually does. Like they'll literally put the best of the best of speed. When they're going for speed, they go, and OnePlus does the same. But like right now, I'm not feeling that this device is faster than what I had with the 8 Pro. And I feel like to a certain point, I should feel some of those differences. I should notice what the goodness of going to the 9 Pro is. It may also be just the first day or so. It's the honeymoon period where I'm actually still not honeymoon, the setup period. I'm still setting it up because I'm transferring my device. I'm leaving the S24 Ultra as the device that I was running recently and moving into the Pixel, because with Pixels, I feel like it's one of those devices that you need a long-term experience with it because it gets different experiences as time goes on.
Sure.
But the funny anecdotal thing that I did is I asked the Gemini Live, because it comes with that feature. I asked it, what do you think, which one do you think is a better phone, the Pixel 9 Pro XL or the S24 Ultra? And it very, very casually told me that obviously the Pixel 9 Pro XL is better. And I interrupted and I said, well, which one has the better Geekbench score? And it told me that the Pixel 9 Pro XL had the better Geekbench score. And I was like,
great.
Okay.
Awesome.
It is just weird stuff. Look, the shenanigans
so
Team Pixel is.
I'm trying to look up specs. I'm sorry. I don't want to make this all about One nerds out on camera sensor sizes and stuff like that.
No, I'm with you. Are you talking about
trying to pull up resolution on the Pixel 9 Pro Fold? It looks like the telephoto is still a 1/3 inch, so it's smaller than a 1/3 inch type sensor at 10.8 megapixels, which I want to see the raw file
on the Pixel 9 Pro XL. I mean, the Pixel 9 Pro Fold.
Fold, yeah. So as I'm trying to pull up spec sheet again, I can't show this to you because I'm not media and Google doesn't want to work with me. Part of the reason why they probably don't want to work with me is because I actually look at WTF is the photo that your phone is saving, because this looks like it's going to be really similar to the Pixel Fold. And I don't know I don't know that this is the direction I really wanted Google to go. After using the OnePlus Open, if I prop up the OnePlus Open and I fire up those cameras, I have a great photography experience.
Yes.
It's not a good photography experience for a foldable. If you flip open an Honor, you have a great photography experience. And I have higher expectations after using phones like the Pixel 8 Pro.
Yeah.
I have higher expectations of Google. The Pixel Fold is good. It's not great.
I think, yeah, and for me, one of the reasons why I didn't pre-order it is I like my OnePlus Open. It's kind of a weird conversation. It's like I like my OnePlus Open.
Good.
And having seen the Fold in hand, I appreciate what they've done design-wise, the improvements over last year, the thinness, all of the things that they've tried. Again, the name is beyond me at this point. They should have gone with the Pixel Fold 2. I don't know why it has to be the Pixel 9 Pro Fold.
Because it has enough RAM to do the AI. Well, so it's a Pro.
No, I know, but I think like it's.
I'm being real snarky here. I
follow. I was with you at the thing. No, I know it's it's a challenge. It's just a challenge at this point. What I would probably, I think. We still need some time. I think the Fold, by the way, is not shipping out at the same time as most people are getting their device now. Most people are going to just get the 9 series, I would say, the 9, the 9 Pro, and the 9 Pro XL. And the Fold, I think, is shipping out later on, and I think they got them back in stock. But I may go down to Best Buy at some point and maybe play with it again someday. I think for me, I'm happy. I
haven't handled one.
Open. Yeah, no,
I'm happy with the OnePlus. That is exactly what I was gonna like, literally word for word. I don't have a Pixel 9 Pro Fold, and I am happy with the OnePlus Open.
Yeah, it's like when you buy a TV, right? You don't upgrade your TV on a yearly basis. You upgrade when you need to get something that your TV currently can't do, and the Open does the exact, and it does it so beautifully. And I still feel like Oxygen OS, even on that, runs much faster. I like the dock. I like the functionality, the split screen option, a lot of good things. And we'll see how.
I hate to say that OnePlus, because we're going to talk about the OnePlus Buds too.
Yeah, the Buds Pro 3.
OnePlus Buds Pro 3. Too many pros and numbers. I hate that OnePlus came in sideways on ecosystem and got me using things directly in their ecosystem, because I've always fought against, I don't want to be in Apple's ecosystem, I don't want to be in Samsung's ecosystem, I want broad things that can be interoperable.
Absolutely.
And then I found myself propping up my OnePlus Pad 2 while I was wearing my OnePlus Watch 2, and my OnePlus Buds were connected to my OnePlus 12 and the OnePlus Pad, and then I needed internet, so I just tapped my phone to the OnePlus Pad and it was sharing my internet and it happened without me really thinking about it.
And you're like, you woke up on like, wait a minute, where did this happen? And I'm
those dirty bastards.
How dare they release things at convenient timing and making them good enough for you to enjoy using them on a daily, and then suddenly you wake up one day and you're like,
they got me.
I'm wearing.
And so now I'm breaking myself out. One of the things that I'm going to talk about, one of the accessories that we're going to talk about today, actually is helping me kind of get away from, I can just like Microsoft Link to my PC and then tap and share between my phone and tablet. And I like doing things in hardware that kind of split that open. But I would like to shift for just a second.
Please.
You're only a day into the Pixel 9 Pro.
Just over 24 hours.
And
my review is in 20 minutes. So
I didn't even ask. Did you go Pixel 9 Pro or Pixel 9 Pro XL?
I did go XL. I did, having held the 9 Pro and the 9. I can't. I knowing that there's an XL model that would be more so. The problem is the XL is what we typically used to get from Pixel, right? So we always used to be a Pixel Pro and a Pixel non-Pro, and the Pro always was the XL. The only thing they did this year is they added a Pro that's the size of the non-Pro, which I think is for most some people appreciate. So it was a shoe-in for the 9 Pro XL, and I went with Hazel on the color. although it's not the hazel that I remember, like
Yeah.
color wise, it. I mean, it is.
Well, hold it up. Let's see.
Hold on, it is and it isn't.
I mean,
But
it's
can you tell
nice.
it's hazel?
I think it's a nice looking phone.
Oh no, absolutely, absolutely. Flat edges.
You're right. Actually, just because of cameras and internet and compression, I really don't know what I would call that color. You're right.
It's a tough color. Like I'm almost tempted to say it's a darker green almost. And I mean, it's a nice color. It's a nice color. But what struck me the most this morning as I was in the office sitting down and like I'm setting up and I'm logging in accounts and all of that, I held the phone in my hand and outside of the case, and I'm like, this doesn't feel like a Pixel. It feels like an iPhone. And I'm like, wait a minute.
No.
So I don't know if and I've said this in the past. I personally don't non-work related my general life outside. I don't use an iPhone. Recent requirements for me, at least, have forced me to basically start using an iPhone for work, and I still have the 13 Pro Max from like a few years ago. The shenanigans, man. Seriously, no, but I honestly, unless I really have to, I usually don't pick it up. The size of the Pixel 9 Pro, 9 Pro Plus, 9 Pro XL. Oh my God, they got me going.
Yep.
And next year we'll have the Ultra, of course. They looked so much like the iPhone 13 Pro, or even like somebody was like, hey, okay, how about you put it next to a 15 Pro Max? I'm like, I don't have a 15 Pro Max. I don't cover iPhones.
Yeah.
It looks so close, flat, that flat area, the design, even the placement of the antenna, obviously is a little bit thicker. So I posted it on X thinking, most people were not even going to pay, but a lot of people are getting it pretty right. And I'm surprised. Yeah. I wouldn't have been able to, I will not lie. I would not have been able to tell had I seen this picture that the flatter back on and the less rounded area on this picture on the device on the left made that a very clear image of an iPhone, because I would never know that. So I asked it genuinely.
About the people that, because again, I guessed. I looked at your photo and I took a stab at it and I got it right.
Yeah, yes.
But again, it wasn't because I knew. And it's like, I have never been that guy who cares about the shape of a fraction of a millimeter of a curve in a bezel on a phone. And even then, it's crazy to me. Like, I used to complain about Xiaomi going really iPhone-y. Yeah. In the on the 13 and the 14 series.
The 14 series was more. I feel like the 14 felt
even more. I mean, like this is the 13 and it's kind of iPhone-y, and then the 14 took it another step, and even that has just enough visual cue to it, like the curve of the separation of the back panel glass into the flat chrome sides. I could pick out a Xiaomi.
Yeah, I think that's
genuinely. I genuinely would not have definitively known, like put a gun to my head, wouldn't have been able to know between the Pixel and the iPhone, which was which.
With the exception of one person, I think maybe two, but in general, like 99% of people, 98, everybody got it right. And I was surprised. I'm truly surprised. I'm like, how do you guys know? But I guess if you've used an iPhone, if you've been around iPhones long enough, this becomes second nature. I will say that that's a deficiency on my side. I've used iOS. I use iOS when it comes down to the 13 Pro Plus, the 13 Pro Max. I got to stop thinking Pro Plus. Oh my God. Anyways, so
it's so annoying, isn't it?
It is the naming convention. 19, like Pro Plus, 5G, Ultra, Zoom Pro, Echelon, all the good stuff. So far, it's a very familiar. It's a very familiar experience. The Pixel Studio is an interesting app. I made a couple of memes with it. My son enjoyed one of them. I made the same meme. The one I responded back to Barry on X, where I put a cat with a thumbs up, and I was like, okay, that's kind of cute. My son loved it, and he started playing around with it. But in general, the functionalities are very familiar, very similar. The camera seems very, very responsive. Again, not that I would have expect anything less from a flagship from Google, but when I watched the videos, it was tough, man. We need the deep dive camera review. We need somebody to focus on the actual performance of the phone running Android 14, and then later when we get Android 15, it's almost you have to start over again and see how the performance changes, because
Yeah.
It's hard that this phone's running the same version or the same OS as my current Pixel 8 Pro. Like it's not a, you know what I mean? Like it's a weird. It should have been the best, the latest and greatest representation of what Google is envisioning for next year, and we won't see that till Android 15 drops. And yes,
Yeah.
probably the 9 Pro. I mean, I take that back. The Android 15 Beta 4 did drop on. They just released it today. Michelle posted it on X. So if you have the 9 Pro or the any of the 9 series, you'd like to try it out. I'm not gonna put Android 15
Actually, I
Beta.
think I'm gonna get out of, because I'm running Android 15 beta. I already wiped
Oh,
out
speaking of
my
which,
Pixel Fold,
dude, yeah, I forgot.
and
I gotta wipe mine because I gotta send it in. So
yeah,
it
so
doesn't
I
matter.
think
Yeah.
I'm gonna nuke my Pixel 8 Pro just so that I can get on the actual consumer release of
Mhm.
Android 15 when that comes out. But it's just gonna be my Pixel 8 Pro sitting here,
Yeah.
waiting for Android 15. I was living out of that phone and swapping hard between my Pixel 8 Pro and the OnePlus 12.
12.
And
Oh
then
yeah.
to kind of get ahead of some of this, like, oh, video out is only coming to the Android 15 beta, which I still think is ludicrously stupid. I flashed to the beta,
Mhm.
and then I never really got back into living in that phone because I kind of knew in the back of my head, you know, you're just going to have to go back to the public release anyway when consumer Android
I in
15
the
comes
past
out.
I've always tried putting the betas on devices I'm very comfortable wiping at the end. It's hard
But
when you
at
do
the
it on a device
time,
that you
that
love to
was
look
the
at.
only one we had that I could do video out to
Yeah.
test video output.
Yeah.
Now I can do that with the Pixel 8a,
Yeah.
and I'm still again, for our audience and then anyone who like frequents my channel, as frustrated as I am with Google, the big if for me is still desktop mode. And if
Yeah.
Android 15 brings some of these little tablety polished bits that we've seen that Michal has been showing off in the sort of augmented previews that he's been playing with, then Pixel 8a becomes a very different value proposition for me. And I really need to make noise about a mid-ranger phone that can compete with desktop style use. So I'll be cranky about it, but that to me is important. Someone out there is hurting for a computer and they could buy a $400 phone that would also displace a $400 or $500 Chromebook.
The Chrome, I was
I
gonna
feel
say, yeah,
that's important, right?
that's a good,
So
yeah.
that to me is like a number one critical. I'm dying. I'm waiting for Android 15 to see if we finally get this thing that we've been promised for literally like 5 years now. I've been
Yeah.
covering this video output mode since Android 10 in earnest,
Hmm.
and that to me is kind of the last. Is it going to come? So after that, I don't know what to do with Pixel until next year, and we see the partnership between Google and TSMC,
Yeah.
because it's
I
not
think
camera tech,
no.
it's not performance, it's not. What
Well, no,
I
because
don't.
Google has proven to us that they can do great things with a 12 megapixel sensor, and having them jump up to I mean, don't get me wrong. There's benefits to going to the sensors. The zoom on the 8 Pro, on the 9, on the 7 Pro, and even the 9 Pro is amazing. There's a lot of good hardware on when it comes to their devices. I feel like the SoC relationship, the signal strength has been definitely better. I've noticed that I haven't had as much. I'll say this: there's an area where I typically lose signal when I'm on a phone call, and
Mhm,
this time for some reason, like, on going and coming the same day, I didn't lose
that's
signal.
good.
So that, to me at least, I'm seeing some improvement, but it's still the same. Like I wish this was the Tensor 5. Let's just say that. Let's say this was the G5
Yeah,
is what I wanted. I think I need more time with it, setting it up. I'm having this weirdest problem right now with Telegram not working. Like it won't, like you try to go through the setup and it won't initiate the code sending so that I can authenticate and get into it. So I had to
yeah.
install Telegram X at least to get up and running. But in general, yeah, I mean, I I bought another case. I've got a glass protector, and I need to start spending some time with it to kind of get the feel. And I have a trip coming up in the next couple of weeks or so. So I'll get in an international trip, which is usually the what used to bring my 8 Pro to its knees, because that was my biggest
Yeah.
problem. When you start putting eSIM and physical SIM and trying to deal internationally, where it's always pinging.
Hot pocket.
Exactly. Yeah. No. Seriously, it makes living with the device a challenge.
Man,
But yeah,
So again, we talked about this, I think a couple weeks ago. We were comparing different phones to like, well, this is a dependable, like Toyota Camry, and this is like a finicky Italian sports car. I was so spoiled by the Vivo X100 when we were out in London, and I had much better band and communication support, and it hooked up on their networks better than it's run here in the United States. And I could have daily driven that phone. I knew how I could drive it to make it overheat, and that never happened with us doing touristy stuff. I was running the cameras hard. I
yep.
was kind of editing a couple clips together, but it was like, man, this is what this phone really feels like when you're using it as your phone, and I loved it. And I feel like the OnePlus is kind of our American flavor of that, but like the Vivo cameras are just
Dude,
better hardware.
the 12 Pro, the OnePlus 12 survived Italy,
Yeah.
Turkey, and Rome, and it survived a lot. And I was driving that device very hard between content capture, videos, pictures, sharing content, managing like I was just literally, it was it was the device I was running with the OnePlus Pad, because I was running them both, so I can kind of just get that experience. No, I get it. I'm with you, and there are so many great options, but I always worry. Like, I've had the same issue over time. The 7 Pro did the same thing to me. The 8 Pro did the same thing. I'm hoping the
Yeah.
9 Pro XL is
Improves on
the
it,
XL.
yeah.
Well, no, yeah. Again, I it's supposed to be better. Let's just say that, and let's see how
So
it goes.
we've talked about this before. Nick asks a good question here in the chat. What's going to improve with the Tensor 5 if it's a Samsung radio packaged by TSMC?
Mhm.
What is going to improve? And this is something that we've batted back and forth. It's, do we think that this is going to be, I don't think it's going to be a Samsung radio. I think when Google leaves Samsung as a partner for their SoC,
There's a good chance they'll
they
go
will be
Qualcomm.
going, there's a good chance they'll go back to Qualcomm. I was expecting their ultrasonic sensor to be from another company, but apparently it's the same ultrasonic that I think's in the Galaxy.
It's the exact
So
same one as the S24 Ultra. Yep,
they're back.
with an exception, but yeah, same sensor.
But I was really hoping that if Google was going to go back, that they would have gotten the Max sensor. And so far, again, like, man,
Only iQOO.
what Vivo did, Vivo and iQOO, what I've never had anything like it. And I know this is still a huge step up for the Pixel, but it's still like, it's the second place.
Yeah.
It's the less good of the really good ultrasonic fingerprint
welcome to
sensors.
2021. Yes, no, I'm with you. So it is a lot better, and I will appreciate. I will say that it is crazy fast. It does not work though with the display off. So where you have to have always on display or raise to wake. Otherwise, if the display is actually sleep, you cannot unlock it. You have to
that
tap
kills
on.
me.
Yeah, and S24 Ultra, doesn't matter where it is. You put your finger on it, boom, it's up. So yeah,
that shouldn't be. That is
no.
You made it better, but then you made it worse. Okay, sorry. I'm okay.
You gave it an Achilles heel just so that it becomes.
I'm all right.
No.
I am
I
absolutely not trying to spin around to get my Vivo X80 Pro out of the back of the shelf just so I could use the Max sensor again, because it was so much better.
Peace. I think Vivo makes great hardware. I think Oppo and Xiaomi are light years ahead of what we have right now in the US. And for a Pixel, the 9 Pro XL is the best Pixel that Google has to offer in 2024. It's better than, in my opinion, it's better. It'll be a better Pixel than what the Fold is. The Fold is a Fold. It's primarily a Fold with better optics than maybe what they had before. And I'm holding it to a high standard to what it should perform at a $1,200 extra bump increase, just to give us 4 extra gigs of RAM. I think for the performance that we're hoping for, I'm hoping better thermal management, and I know again there are ways to push us even the 8 Gen 3 to its limit and get it to warm up. There's no question that you can always try.
Oh yeah,
but daily activity, rendering, content creation, content capture. The boost functionalities that they have now on device as opposed to being on the cloud. I'd like to start testing that out. It's just that I'm waiting for the weekend to start going, interesting places.
Really start
Going
digging
into the office
it,
and going out every day does not provide me with a lot of good.
not great. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and with the heat that we've been going
Now,
on for a while, not
to
a
be
lot of
fair, I mean,
flowers.
like, look at some of the reviews we've seen where it's just like, oh, and you can tell by the cameras that Google has the best cameras, and then it's like a photo of a shrub outside
Yeah,
someone's house,
I
or
don't think
like,
a
look
lot
at
of
these steps.
not a lot of
Like,
people yeah.
you didn't have any vision for shooting a photo on your phone.
It's no, dude. Seriously, I think I'm hoping there'll be better.
Barry
content
knows
tonight.
what I mean. Like, I can't tell if a camera's good unless it's got a terribly composed, slightly off-axis photo of random stairs
With the focus on the
somewhere. 'Cause
wrong
that's,
subject. No, I'm with you.
yeah,
I'm with
that's
you.
how you know. That's how
It's
you know you got the good camera.
You're into that
So.
abstract shit. I'm with you, man.
Take that, Ansel Adams.
Exactly. What do you talk about? Scenery, mountains, and like green. No, man. Come on. I'm with you.
Jojo, we need fire hydrants. I haven't done a nighttime shot of the fire hydrants in a couple weeks. I need to get back out there.
You need to take
shoot some more fire hydrants. I did it as a joke, and then it kind of stuck, and it was like, oh, actually, this does kind of help me understand low light performance, but I'm not doing it because it's a good photo.
See?
This is so stupid. Oh, I got to get better at that.
There has to be a book of all those images that Juan takes. I'm like, I don't know,
man.
man, but it's scientific. It does hit the side. No, no, I do. If nothing else, dude, I miss our walk. And I think just walking around New York at night,
Yeah.
like after a long day of work, and going for a couple slices of pizza, but then walk around that Rockefeller Center, walk around the, just enjoying the nightlife of what New York has to offer. Yeah, those are the little things. Like I said, this trip that we did with Google, we didn't get a chance to go anywhere. We were shuttled around all the place, and by the time we were done, we shuttled ourselves back into LA. So we'll see. On to the next one. I'm hoping we'll have an opportunity before too long to go on a trip together and hang out. But yes, I think I'm going to do a very hard turn to the left.
Well, real quick before you do that hard turn to the left, my prediction.
Oh, please. Yeah.
Because the phone that I was hoping would get seeded out by Teampixel was actually the smaller Pixel 9 Pro.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. That's right. It was in the email.
They would send that one out. Because I really want to test smaller phone, smaller internals. What happens with heat and performance and throttling and battery life, and can it be an all-day phone? So that was what I was trying to focus on. I feel, based on the non-content from all of these very important media people that got phones directly from Google and get to profit from their embargo periods, and they certainly wouldn't be, sort of gilding lilies or sort of enhancing the tone of their conversation, because credibility is so important to these people. My personal prediction is the Pixel 9 series isn't a phone to swap if you've got a Pixel 8 or maybe even a Pixel 7. I really feel this is the killer upgrade for someone who liked their Pixel 6, but is obviously now getting a couple years into the issues that we know were floating around with the Pixel 6. Like, if you had the Pixel 6, imagine going from the Pixel 6 fingerprint sensor to the Pixel 9.
Oh, and the Pixel 6 series heating issues with the first generation tensor.
And the radio management, where we had even poorer coverage in a lot of these outliers.
I remember.
So I'm putting this out there, not because that is my conclusive review on the phone, because I don't have one.
So we're going to
that is my
later
prediction.
And just change the words.
And well, no, that's what I want to see. I am going to spend a little time with the Pixel 9 Pro XL, and again, a major thank you to Jojo the techie for hooking me up with just the short loaner until I can get my hands on one proper. But that's kind of the feel, and I don't like the feeling that I can kind of already guess what the phone is like without ever having picked it up. even when people were telling me, like I was in that on that podcast with one of our Android blog podcasters back in the day, and we were going from the Xperia 1 Mark III to the Xperia 1 Mark IV, and he literally in the podcast said, "Oh yeah, I could probably just change all of the names of the phones in my Xperia Mark III review, and it'd just be the same review." Sony. And you're like, no, every single time I picked up a Sony, there was something that stood out, or something that surprised me, or something like, oh, this really is better. That okay, I dig on that. And I don't love that feeling, because I had that with Pixel 6 to Pixel 7. I
Okay.
had that with Pixel 7 to Pixel 8, and I don't know that I'm going to feel that going from Pixel 8 to Pixel 9, but I hope it's there. I hope there is something there, but it's not a bunch of media outlets talking about AI. That ain't going to do it for me. That is not hyping me up
AI
or
is
encouraging a trade-in if someone has a Pixel 8.
no, absolutely, and I think the narrative behind the statement of AI is driven by profit. We have to understand why those statements are why Google pushes AI, because Google's trying to leverage their AI functions and their AI services to be cloud-based, meaning it's running on their servers, requiring
Yeah.
their systems. And what happens at that point is companies like Realme. Realme basically, at their launch event for when we were in Milan, Google went on stage and talked about their AI functions in Google Photos. Although Realme had built-in AI features that were built into their camera app, and they were bringing in some of the Oppo AI was starting to trickle down to Realme levels and stuff, and that wasn't mentioned. It was Google
Yeah.
on stage. So to me, those are the things that I feel like, we need to kind of understand the conversation and what's going on. And yes, if you had watched the launch event of the Pixel 9 series, you probably would have thought it was an AI presentation. And there happens to be a couple of pieces of hardware being announced. No, seriously, the focus on so much AI that was done in there. And again, some of it may be functionals, and again, depending on what your usage is, I don't think the Tensor G4 was needed for that. I don't think the 16 gigs of RAM were running on there. The reality is that the Pixel 8 Pro could have done all of this perfectly fine, and more than likely will be able to do all of that very fine. And that was the main challenge. That, again, like you said, how do you recommend it? There has to be a few things that kind of just stand out. I will say the display is way much better than what we've had before. The fingerprint sensor is a better experience. I'll be honest, I haven't even listened to any music off of it. I've had calls on it, but I haven't played any songs or anything. And I'm still finalizing transferring. I need to transfer my OnePlus Watch 2 over to it. So I have hopes for it. I always feel comfortable going back into a Pixel, into a OnePlus, and those are devices I enjoy. I always love using when I'm reviewing these guys. So it's promising, and I think, like you said, it's really more for the 6 series. The first generation, when Google truly took Pixel seriously and started to back the 6 series, because that's when they started advertising heavily. Prior to the 6 series, Google never really, I feel like almost like they didn't really believe in the series.
Like Pixel 4, they were trying.
They tried with the 4, the 5,
and
was
then the
more
5 was an off year.
It was a very off. Yeah, there was like
the 5. The 6 was supposed to be the 5.
The 5,
and
I like to call the 5
get
as a short thing, because it was that whole. It was, we were going bigger, bigger, and then I was like, what happened? No. I mean, it was like, what's up? No, I know. But yeah.
But now I dragged that out longer than I probably should have.
I mean,
we can start moving on. It's just,
I'm sure a lot of
I wanted to
here.
put it out there, because then I'd love to have this on the record to say, like, hey, when I actually do review this phone on patreon.com/somegadgetguy. Since, we don't want to give media too much competition. We wouldn't want to take precious clicks away from media outlets. I just kind of wanted to put it out there just to see, was I on the mark? And I hope I find I want to be wrong, is what I'm saying. I want to find something in there like, oh, I get it. And I don't think it's going to be AI. But moving on, because the most important launch this week was all the cool stuff that we love treating our ears to.
Seriously, I'm
that was kind of the most important launch. I mean, out of all the things that people are talking about this week, it's shocking to me that, like, far and away, everyone is so lit up about the OnePlus Buds. kind of huge.
This is so. I was surprised. I'll be honest. Look, I didn't. I typically I almost I never get very surprised in like the timing of things. We just came off of the OnePlus Pad 2 launching in Milan, and they launched the OnePlus Nord Buds Pro, the new OnePlus Nord Buds. And to me, I just felt like, okay, I don't really think they're going to release another pair of buds. And then out of the blue, we get the Pro Series gets an update because we had a standard version of the OnePlus Buds 3 that came out just recently. So again,
I'm trying to find. I can't even find the box. I had the box over here. I'm
the,
still on the podcast. I'm just going to leave the camera for a second while I walk around my office.
We're going to watch the
bang, crash, smash,
dang. So OnePlus coming back with what I will probably say one of the best sounding microphone earbuds that I've used to date.
It's real good.
The noise cancellation and the noise isolation that is done, because I tested it with a few people. I was calling people. Yes, right there, the box. And I called people. I recorded video. I even put in a clip in the video when I recorded it. I was outside in wind, standing in a windy area, standing where there was a plane flying above me. I mean, obviously not right above me, but like above, high enough that you could hear it.
Planes make noise.
And there was an AC, my AC at the house, because we were running again 105 for quite some time. So AC was running all the time. So all of those things were running in the background, but you could hear none of that. The only thing that was, and then this was not processed. There was nothing done to that on my side. I imported it and we played it straight. To me, those are the type of buds you want to be on when you're on a call, when you're on that business call, and or you're watching your kid play the game, but you need to be still doing some work and you need to do some, work life balancing kind of thing. That was the biggest surprise for me. The audio performance, I already knew the sound profile that the Buds Pro 3 going to be, because it's a continuation. And I want to actually ask you, maybe you can help me with this. How do you say the name, the company name on the back of the Buds?
Dyne Audio is what I've been saying.
Is it Deviant Audio, Dyne Audio, or Deviant Audio?
I've been treating that as a Y, but I also don't. So
is it a Y? Okay, so Dyne Audio, not Deviant Audio. Okay, forget about it. I've been butchering that name for years.
Now that you say it, I don't know. I'm guessing. But I've always assumed that it was Dyne Audio. I don't love the EQ profile that they put on to try and match their speakers. I know OnePlus has made this a major part of their branding, and that we're going to be taken more seriously as an audio manufacturer, and I think it sounds okay. But to me, it does sound a little boom soundy. Like, oh, we're going to open this up, and then we're going to lift this in the mids, and then balance everything out. And you're like, I get what you're doing, but I actually just kind of like their balanced EQ profile, the one that comes out of the box.
The standard, the standard profile, not the Deviant or Dyne Audio, because there's more focus on that. I think they're trying to give you more control. Like one of the additional features they added here is the bass boost. Like you can not only tune, but you can even boost. If you just want to, you want to like
out of the box.
Like this.
So if you literally can't handle anything but taking the earbuds out of the box and then putting them in your ears, and you won't touch anything else, for my bass heads, I still put up Soundcore. If you can handle, if you can handle going into settings and switching the EQ profile, there are now 2 stages. So you go into bass mode, and then there's still a separate slider at the bottom of the OnePlus Buds, and you just ratchet that all the way up. And this is the first time I think I've ever had at like what I consider to be a reasonable listening volume. Not like I'm just trying to blow out my ears, but at a reasonable listening volume, I could feel the low frequency of these earbuds vibrating my eyeballs. And it was very disconcerting. That is not the style of music, the style of tuning that I like. But I don't know that I've felt anything like that without having to kind of turn other multi-driver earbuds up too high. So this claim that they're making that they've got a DAC per driver. So there are 2 drivers in each ear. There's there's an 11 millimeter and a 6 millimeter. So it's almost like a woofer and a tweeter.
Yep.
And then there's a DAC per driver in each ear. the output that these things can drive is not quite like any other consumer true wireless earbud that I've heard in the past. I'm not telling people that this is so radically, magically higher quality, musically high resi, whatever. But it is unique, and there is a texture on this that I don't think I've ever heard on OnePlus before, and I certainly haven't heard on similarly priced or more expensive earbuds. I have to go to audiophile grade stuff, or I've got to do silly things with infrasound on massive speakers. I've never had my eyeballs rattled like you can do on the OnePlus buds.
Where to go, man? No, don't get me wrong. Look, I love me some Soundcore. I still feel like Soundcore is pretty much like the gold standard when it comes to bass heads.
For bass heads, yeah.
Based, no pun intended, based on the way they've been performing over every year. Like literally, I mean, even with their speakers and everything, that's literally how they drive. And it's a I feel like it's a good recipe for them. The one gripe that I have with Soundcore's performance is, if you want to listen to or utilize their best codec, you want to use dual devicing, because they allow you to connect to multiple devices, you always lose LDAC. That they do not support high quality audio, or the highest resolution they support in dual mode. And I understand why you do it, because it is going to kill your battery, obviously, running the same frequency, the same type of profile at the same time. Don't get me wrong, absolutely. But I also feel like, a user should be responsible enough to understand that if you're running dual connections, you may not want to turn on LDAC on both devices, or you may want to turn it off. OnePlus allows us to run, now, mind you, it doesn't, unless you're connecting to two OnePlus devices, you're not going to get their highest performance codec support on their devices. You're going to be stuck to AAC. But it keeps
LHDC, yeah.
And it keeps it on OnePlus devices if you're connected. So if it's a OnePlus, let's say, and a Samsung, OnePlus and a Pixel, whatever, it'll keep LHDC on the OnePlus or the Realme and the Oppo, just for reference. Anything running Color OS, recent Color OS based OS, so either Realme OS, Oxygen OS, and Color OS, all support LHDC. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, you're the one who told me that Xiaomi supports LHDC as well.
Yeah, actually. So what's funny is on the OnePlus Buds Pro 2.
Oh, from last year.
They set up LHDC, and the very first phone that you could connect it to was a Xiaomi.
Oh, that's
Even
right.
OnePlus
the OnePlus
did not have support for LHDC
right.
until they had a major OTA, and it took a long time. It took a couple months.
Yeah.
So I had this really snarky little comment like, oh, and OnePlus thinks they can get away with this because it's just like all they're going to do is support like some Chinese brand. And you're like, yeah, some Chinese brand. Like all the phones from China that represent roughly 45% of the Android marketplace are not going to have any issues hooking up to these buds and giving you full LHDC support. So get real sad, but also keep talking about Samsung, where their high-res audio codec only works on Galaxies.
Well, no,
and that's
another thing. A lot of people,
smaller percentage of the Android market.
But even a smaller subset of the Galaxy market. The only devices right now that support the brand new the Buds Pro 3, I think also on Samsung side, are the Flip 6 and the Z Fold 6, because you need One UI 6.1.1 to get the codec. So while I was testing it with my S24 Ultra, it ran no different than the last generation.
Sure.
So there's so there's the ecosystem, and then there's the conversation.
And again, notwithstanding that, like the vast majority of Samsung sales are Galaxy A.
Yeah,
so cool.
They won't have. Yeah,
that's great.
Till that update is out, those buds are purely intended to be best for Flip 6 and Fold 6. And right now, at least with what OnePlus is doing with the Pro 3,
while we're doing this, I'm gonna let me break out one of my Vivo V series. Which one should I do? Because we just did V40, V30. Should I go back a gen? Let me pull out a V40, because I just want to see if they have
LHDC.
Because again, that would be kind of cool to see if they have LHDC support.
Where in the world is LHDC?
HDC
Where in
support.
the world is LH? I'm sorry, badly performed, non-copyrighted. I mean, sorry, it is copyrighted music. We do apologize. We have lost monetization
But it was
again.
transformative. It's commentary and critique.
It
That's
is very
that's
much.
totally
I did it.
how
I did transform. You're
we
right.
do
I did
that.
added. I added a few off pitch tones to it, which made it
Have you
very.
had anyone try and make the claim that OnePlus is now trying to copy Apple too because their case is a top loader instead of that flat loader?
I haven't had anybody comment on that. I just. I
Because
love
the
the
OnePlus
design.
case used to be like a little makeup compact, and I prefer this. I like this better.
I prefer this
I
as well.
like it better.
I liked it as well.
But
The new design is growing on me, but like I said, they did the same on. I should have seen it coming when they did it on
for
the
sure.
Nord. Yeah, the Nord started us. Hold on, can I get it? Yeah, so you see there, they're pretty much the same. Like I don't know how to. I'm
But
pretty sure I'm gonna
if
drop.
we're gonna say that they're copying anyone, who would you say that this design is more indicative of?
I was gonna say Sony. A little. I got a little
Close, a
more.
little bit, a little
Yeah,
bit.
either Sony or who else was?
I'm
Who else
about
was
to hit
good?
you with a deep cut. You know, I had something. I have
Oh
something
no, of
prepped for
course
this.
you don't ask a question without it. Come on.
That's how I make myself seem smart. Is I ask rhetorical questions that I already know the
And
answers to.
TK tries to see if he can guess the question before he looks dumb. No,
Do you remember your TCL buds?
oh yes, the
Haha.
TCLs. Yes, I don't know where mine are,
The
but
the
yes.
the sort of oval top
Well,
loading.
I was also going
Hmm.
to say Realme already went to the oval as well.
Oh yeah. Fair,
They,
fair, fair,
they,
fair, fair, fair,
no.
fair.
A lot. I think it's a design. It's a design philosophy that is changing. I think again, I like the suitcase style. I like the case, the shape of it. That when I needed it, I just opened it. This one is a little more compact. I mean, I understand the ergonomics because when you just open this, it's not an open like it takes less
Yeah,
space from a visual standpoint to have to open just
I
this as opposed
really,
to this. But
I really liked the Buds Pro and
also,
Buds Pro 2
also
and
one thing to
Buds
mention,
3
which
case.
took me some time, the wireless charger on the Buds Pro 3 is in the front, not on the back.
Yeah,
It's not a
I
lot.
kept to like, no, it's not.
Logically,
No,
yeah. If you try to charge your buds and you put them on on what you would assume, because on the earlier generation, again, it used to always be on the back, the flatter area, and you're like, well, why is it not charging? Why is it not turning on? And then no, the wireless coil is in the front this time. It's an interesting, again,
because that
little
hinge
confused.
is in the way. It's actually clever
Yeah, no,
how
I know
they've
because
shifted it, but that is
you can have it
absolutely
open
not
and
how
still
you would
charge.
expect it.
Yeah,
Exactly. So again, that is actually really cool, but you wouldn't think that's how
you
it
would think
should
something is
work.
not working. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, little things like that, and
All right. I'm gonna try and get this set up and then also install the Hey Melody app. And let me see if
oh, that's right. You do need
my
to,
mid
yeah.
Ranger Vivo
Well, actually,
can
what? Wait, hold on.
support
Before you install Hey
LHDC.
Melody, go into the settings and see if it recognizes it and it gives you the option. Because I mean, I
Oh,
know,
okay.
I know they don't use FunTouch is not obviously based on ColorOS, so there's not a, it shouldn't,
Hmm.
but it would be surprising if it recognizes it on the Bluetooth side. I mean, yeah, on the Bluetooth settings
Let's
section.
see. I'm
Let's
gonna
see.
go
Let's
into
see.
my more Bluetooth settings. High quality audio SBC is in use.
Yeah, that's then
So
it.
I don't. So
Oh no, no.
let's see if Hey Melody can
I was
shift
about
that
to
up.
say yeah. If Hey Melody can, but does it give you
It
the?
is it
Sorry.
is so weird
Mhm.
having these in my ear and then listening to you over bone conduction
Because you're
because I'm
getting noise
getting all of the
cancellation. Yeah,
the
yeah.
noise cancellation, but you're still yeah coming through loud and clear.
I'm
So
special,
hold
man.
on.
I try to connect with people on
I
different.
really feel like I need to focus more. You know, like your voice deserves like that kind of rapt attention.
I always said you're a great listener to everybody else, but it's good. Yeah,
All right, so connect.
let's see.
Update your earbud firmware for a better listening experience. Interesting, because I've had these connected to my OnePlus 12, and I've been testing like literally the last 2 days, and no
There
firmware
was one
updates
update.
yet.
Yeah, I did
So
receive one update when I got the buds, but I didn't double check and see if there was an update today. You're right. There's always the day one update.
interesting. No, don't disconnect. So actually, yeah, I don't see a setting that I can get in here and change in Hey
There-
Melody.
You're
So
right.
we might not have LHDC on a mid-ranger here. So it might just be the
Supposedly
more premium phones.
improves overall sound quality, details for better listening experience, enhances noise cancellation depth and transparency effects, and fixes some known issues. The firmware will update in 3 to 4 minutes. Blah blah blah. Make sure you have 30% battery, and it's installing. You're right. That update must have just dropped today because I did not see
Yeah,
that. It wasn't
I'll
there. I was
tackle
using.
those.
Yeah.
I'll tackle those a little later. Not something I feel people need to jump on if they like their OnePlus Buds Pro 2. I feel like the performance is close enough
I think
that
yeah. Yeah.
unless your complaint. So to your point that you were mentioning earlier, unless your issue was like you did want better call quality
I
for
think the
your
microphones.
outgoing
I
audio,
really feel like the outgoing
that
audio
could be.
major boost. Yeah.
But on the whole, it's still like everything's a little bit nicer. Everything definitely got a little attention and a little polish.
Yep.
But the OnePlus Buds Pro 2 were
Hmm.
so good, I wouldn't feel a burning need to swap them out unless there was like a specific thing that you were really
It did
concerned
really
about.
just yeah. I think for me it's more. I'm at events. I'm in noisy areas. I'm in airports. I'm in areas where there's just going to be a lot of background noise, and I'd like it to so that it doesn't take away from the conversation if I'm having, especially if it's a business meeting, right? Or if I'm on a meeting, on a presentation or something like that, and I need to be able to participate. Last thing I want is the background of where I am to overshadow what the messages that I'm trying to convey over. And I
Yeah.
think for me, the Buds Pro 3 do such a great job. That would be my only reason why I'm switching from
Hmm.
the Pro. But otherwise, you're right. I think this is primarily like a good upgrade, maybe from the first generation, and even the Nord side. Like if you want to get a lot of those extra bells and whistles for not so much more, because they're running a special for like
Hmm.
$149.99. Like they're selling it for like $30
Yeah.
cheaper right now. So anyways, yeah,
It's nuts. They're $100 less than AirPods Pro 2.
yeah. Or even the Galaxy Buds as well. Like the Buds, those are 250.
I thought the Galaxy Buds were 200.
Did they drop the price?
Did I
Or is
have that wrong?
I no,
I again, I could totally have that wrong. I this is the podcast where Juan is just like, I might have had that
hold
wrong.
on.
You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
No, 249.99. Yeah.
That is not. Having
Maybe
spent some time with the OnePlus Buds Pro 2, I mean OnePlus Buds Pro 3, I'm not feeling AirPods and Galaxy Buds at 250. I'm
yeah,
really not.
and it actually is on special from 279. That's where because that was the because I had a few people ask like would you go with this over the Samsung's offering, and I was like, unless you're running a fold and a flip and
Yeah.
6 specifically, not even just the standard, the 6 series of those, that would be the only reason I would say this is better. Like the Samsung offering is better for you. For me, between the two, because I did get the Buds 3, the Pro 3s from Samsung from coming when I went to the event. They don't fit my ear very well. Like even at the largest ear tips, they still don't have that snug feel. Like like I feel like I could probably weirdly turn my head and they'll fall off, and so I never get that full seal that it's supposed to be, where the and I know obviously I can get ear tips. I
Sure.
realize the effect that you can just buy them, but the ones provided in the box, at least for my ear, didn't fit that well.
Hmm.
So I gravitated towards something that gave me a better seal, because as you know, and all of our listeners are obviously, the right ear tip contributes to a better hearing experience
Oh
on
yeah.
these things. If you have any kind of sound leakage or not a good seal within the ear canal, you're just not going to enjoy it. You will feel it.
Yeah.
So yeah. So long story is,
Absolutely.
it's a good solution at the discount rate right now, $100 cheaper than most options, and still provides great long battery life with a lot of good. I feel like some nice little controls. I like that. I like that bass slider. If I want to be able to feel my eyeballs,
Well, and
feel the bass, that's what I'm going to do.
again, I don't think that this is a purchasing recommendation if you've been playing with even the OnePlus Buds 3 non-pro, dual driver,
Yeah.
great tech.
Yeah.
great ANC, and they get slightly better battery life than the Pros.
Well,
So
yeah.
it's the same. The reason why I want to bring that up is one of the major differences is delivering both the controls from the Buds Pro 2
Mm-hmm.
and the controls from the Buds 3. So you have swipes and squeezes,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
So as a quality of life upgrade, great. But I really love this strategy, and I think this is a phenomenal look on OnePlus. Man, you're talking about some minor tech and lifestyle differences delineating their price points. OnePlus Watch 2, stainless steel and sapphire.
Mm-hmm.
OnePlus Watch 2R, all the same tech, but aluminum and durable glass.
Yeah.
That's great. Don't compromise the experience,
Yeah.
but to reach different price points, you're just changing up a few of the things that might make one product a little nicer. It might be casing, it might be build material, it might be, a difference in spatial audio or head tracking.
Mm-hmm.
If that's what you want, then yeah, you want to step up to the more expensive earbud. But the more expensive earbud is still $100 cheaper right now
Mm-hmm.
than the AirPod Pros. So this is where I really hope OnePlus can root in and live.
Yeah.
You can give me 3 different flavors of products, but that generation, the performance and the tech are really similar. And the things that delineate price points are a little more aesthetic or like the extreme features.
Yeah.
Like how many people are really like, oh man, head tracking and spatial audio is really going to make my purchasing decision. Not many, but the people who care
Yeah.
can care about that. I care about that. So yeah, I would want to make that jump. That to me is a phenomenal strategy because any OnePlus device you pick up this year,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's anything that feels like an overly compromised experience just to reach a cheaper price. Everything feels like it's hitting pretty high level.
Since the open, they've been on a roll, and I'm enjoying the ride. It's
Yeah.
been enjoyable to see. It's like a resurgence of OnePlus of old, where we're used to getting better and improvement, like the gradual improvement year over year, and one device over another, it always gets a little bit better. I think like the 10 series, the 11 series was a little bit off. They were still trying to figure out what to do. They were in a relationship with carriers, and then they separated. That there was a whole thing.
And everyone, and the
Yeah.
year the OnePlus 10 Pro came out, everyone got burned by the 8 Gen 1.
Yeah.
Like that was just a bad year for everybody. So I
Oh
could
my
see
God.
where OnePlus scaled back. They kind of licked their wounds a little bit. They had finally finished their carrier relationships.
Mm-hmm.
This was the year we really didn't know what was going to go on with the OnePlus 11 in the United States, if we were even going to get it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they kind of limped into the market. And then the OnePlus 12, the OnePlus Open came out and just like rocked us.
Yeah.
And everything since the OnePlus Open, you're spot on. Everything since the OnePlus Open has just been banger after banger after banger.
And I said, to this day, I told our buddy over at OnePlus, and I was like, dude, I don't know why I doubted your excitement, because he was hyping it up since MWC of last year, like when we were talking about it. But it's just no. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like when you set the bar
It's
high,
great. You want someone who's going to be excited.
no,
about,
but that's what it is. Yeah,
yeah.
you do absolutely. And mine was more to try to tame the expectations so that I would not be disappointed. And then I was like, no. This is much better. So yeah, great buds. If you're looking into getting into those, please check it out. Both Juan, I think you dropped your post. I think was it today or yesterday? Yeah. And so that was over there. And then I dropped a video for it as well. But so audio aside, you've been playing with a little bit better. I'm not going to say better, but like more advanced audio tech than what I would say.
Yeah.
The average Joe or TK would be listening to.
So I just put out a video today on these bad boys. So the headphones aren't necessarily new.
Mm-hmm.
They've been around for a while. Metse is not a company that I typically gravitate towards.
Okay.
My own listening preferences are a bit more analytical and I really love an aggressively articulate headphone.
Okay.
So for me, it's like when you hear a lot of really great grungy guitar distortion effects. If a headphone is a little too dull bassy, a band like Rage Against the Machine, I feel, is destroyed. I feel like a lot of that stuff we take for granted, like, oh yeah, it's rock, rock. You just want it loud and, oh, mega bass. But really, a lot of those great albums were pretty delicate. You think about like some of the acoustic work that went into Nirvana's Nevermind, or the first Rage Against the Machine album, or like Stone Temple Pilots. Like,
Oh, man.
there are these really grand sonic soundscapes, but for me, it's Rage Against the Machine is one of those delicate ones. Like, how they mix distortion is very precise. And to me, that's where the rage comes from. Like, you want that on display. So I'm not saying that Meze does this poorly. I just like mixing monitor grade headphones that, like, if there's a buzz or a rasp, it's like as detailed and as aggressively articulate as possible. That was a long preamble to say these are my daughter's favorite headphones now. These are the Meze 99s. And they are maybe the most comfortable headphones I think I've ever reviewed. Not that they're the most comfortable headphones that have ever existed, but they're incredibly lightweight. The flexible, the spring steel gives you just enough clamp force to the sides of your head that it can kind of help block sound, but it's not squishing your brains out. And then this is what I wish like the Odyssey Maxwell had. The headband is self-adjusting. So as soon as you put it on, the gravity of the headset plays against the adjustable straps, and you don't have to adjust a headband. Like, you don't click, 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 click. They just slide, and then it feels kind of like anti-gravity, that they just sort of float on your head, and they're super, super light. So they sent these over because their new product is actually a boom mic that clips into the cable. Like, I'm trying to remember the name of that company, that Mod Mic, if you remember, like Mod Mic from back in the day. And so there's a little boom mic, and it clicks into a cable. This is the left ear cup, so we're going to do that. And then you've got this cute little like mini condenser that can kind of pop by your face.
For gaming or calls.
So for gaming or for calls, they are really working gaming. And I get why you would want to start embracing a gaming audience. I think gamers have really evolved. Their music, their audio tastes have really matured over the last 5 years, especially. Now, like Planar Magnetics and the Arctis Steel series, like some just gorgeous headphones that happen to be gaming headsets. I'm not saying Meze is incorrect, but they're only tackling the analog side. This is a traditional cabled headphone.
So now,
and it's an old school kind of boom mic headset microphone that goes in front of your mouth. And then the digital side of this is just up to you. So if you don't have like a good gaming DAC that can do surround sound manipulation or spatial audio or like footstep, every gaming sound device now has like a footstep mode, so you can hear if someone's like sneaking up on you or something like that. Meze isn't tackling any of that. They're giving you all of the analog audio reproduction, and they're doing an incredible job of that. But you take something like this, and if you're an old school audio nerd like me, this is a phenomenal broadcast option. Like the low level of that is like, do you just take like, video calls or Zoom or Skype or whatever? Sure. But like this could go legit toe to toe against like classic Sennheiser headsets that used to be for like sporting events. Like you've seen those black headphones with the big microphone that sticks right in front of the announcer's face.
Ones. I think Bose makes also a version of that we see a lot.
Exactly. This is really good. And so I recorded the entire video off of this mic. So as I'm reviewing it, I'm just wearing the headphone, and everything that you hear is unprocessed, air conditioner on, fan on my feet, in my office, just talking directly into this. The only thing I've done is lift the levels a little, which would also make all the background noise louder too.
Yep.
And it sounds really good. So I'm very impressed with what they've put out. It is old school, it is analog, it's dark, it's crunchy, it's a really bassy, mellow headset. Phenomenally comfortable. Like, this is the kind of headphone where if you wanted to kick back and really just listen through some albums, plural, you could wear these things forever. They are just really comfy.
It makes sense to target gamers because that is typical what they do. Even if they're
A
not
long
listening, they're wearing
headset
long,
listening. Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
So
the less
I think
pressure
there's
on the top, the less of that concaveness comes up in there.
So like, I just got done with the Odyssey Maxwell, and I love planar magnetics. Again, a planar headphone to me has a dynamic and articulate sound that I prefer that sound over Metze's more mellow, smooth, rich, luscious lows kind of a sound. The Maxwell are fatiguing. They are a heavy headphone.
Okay.
And they also have, I think I've got them over here. What's funny is they also have a head strap instead of head padding. So there's this strap that's supposed to float them, but there's no give on this strap. So the Meze have these elastic bands that slide so that you can really fit and that they float on your head. This, man, it's like the weight is just right in the middle of this strap, right on the top of your head.
Yeah.
And I love the sound of these, and I am willing to wear them. They don't bother me to the point where I can't wear them for long periods of time, but I feel that when I take them off. Like, I take them off and there's like a release of pressure off the top of my skull. I adore the sound quality. I'm willing to make that compromise, but I don't have a video out on these yet. The headphones that are now giving even my Maxwell a run for their money are, hopefully I'll have a video out on these next week. They've been around for a while, and if you're an audio junkie like I am, you've probably seen these. But I do have the new Edifier.
Oh, the new Edifier. Okay,
So this is the Edifier Stax S5. And again, planar magnetics, it is a different type of driver in the ear cup. It's a different way to produce sound. And I love how fast and how articulate you can make this kind of audio. So these are not cheap. This is a very premium. I think they're like $500, maybe a little bit more, something like that. But man, I'm digging them. So like these are now like kind of giving my ribbon headphones, because I've got those Cineaptics still, and the Cineaptics are an incredible buy at $200. But these are giving my Cineaptics a run for their money in this like transient, high articulation, accurate. They're not skull rumblers. You can make them pretty bassy, but they're never going to be like as fat as just like a big dynamic driver headphone. But if you want that clarity of audio, planars or electrostatics, and electrostatics are horrifically expensive. So I've got just a lot of audio toys, kind of like going from the OnePlus Buds to the Meze earbuds to then the Meze headset mic to these stacks. And then there's also something here on my desk that I can't show you yet, but it's also audio related and it's awesome and I love it. It's really a lovely time to be playing with the novelty of different colors.
Yeah.
Like a good headphone is easily attainable at like $50. I mean, even just like my One Mores, like these originally retailed for like $100, and now you can find them on sale for like $50 or $60. And at $50, these are phenomenal headphones. It is not hard finding a great headphone for under $100.
Yeah.
So once you start climbing above $100, it's really, are you getting the audio experience that you want? It's like you start specifying.
You have to be more, you have to be more
discerning,
discerning and distinguishing what you value the most and what is the purpose of going with something that expensive. Again, when you're comparing the Buds Pro, the Buds 3 with the Buds Pro 3 on OnePlus's side, you'd have to be very specific as to why you choose to go to the Pro over the standard. And a piece of tech, honestly, comfort is a massively okay. So for me, just for reference, whenever I'm working, I always love using over the ears. Okay, I have some old Sennheisers at the office. I also have some of my Sonys with me for when I'm listening to music. But I typically always have to do this. I always hold my head, and it's always like this. It's a weird look, or if it's not like this, it's either to the front or to the back, because I need to
Yeah,
be able to listen. I'm at work. I mean, people can talk to me,
for
and I
sure.
can't be like not listening. Um, and the fatigue, the flexibility, the material, I mean, the build quality of a pair of over the ear or even on ear is super
Hmm.
important for extended usage.
For
When we
sure.
travel, we're sitting on a plane, 5 6 hours or maybe 10 13 hours depending where you're going. That's a very important factor. Comfort is a big
Yeah.
thing. So if Miz is doing it right, hopefully other companies will start following suit. But I'm glad. I'm
Well,
happy that your
see,
daughter loves them,
that
and
that's
sorry for your loss. That's all I have
that.
to say.
Yeah, I know. And I had to sit her down and have a conversation. Sorry, I'm gonna be proud dad here.
Please.
I love letting my daughter come up with little playlists. She has her one big public playlist on
Hmm.
Qobuz, and I think it's now like 70 songs strong of like fun songs to belt in traffic, female pop singer
Yep.
edition. So I love, and this summer she really took to it.
Hmm.
Middle of the day, I need to take a break from just being in this office, and I would drag her over and be like, we're gonna demo two different headphones. And then every song, we're just going to pass them back and forth. And you just tell me, like, what song you want to play next. And it was a lot of Taylor Swift, but it was still like
Oh, I
she's
was gonna.
being the DJ.
The moment you said, female pop, all that, I was like, okay, Taylor Swift
Lots
right
of
there.
Taylor Swift. But
It's
I mean,
Kelly
she's,
Clarkson
she's
and Taylor Swift.
so the only Kelly Clarkson song she likes is that first
Since you've been
major
gone,
single
or
that
no,
she had.
now that you're gone, or since you've been gone, or
Yeah, since you've been gone,
yeah, I
I
think that's
can't
what it. Yeah,
breathe
I
for
don't.
the
I
first time.
never
And
sung the whole
she hasn't
chorus,
gotten
but
deep into that, but she's been getting deep into like Dua Lipa, Rita Ora, Churches, Purity Ring, and then like some obscure stuff too. Like she actually does like That's Poppy, or I guess now it's just Poppy, not That's
Poppy.
Poppy.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, so this last round, I had, God, my daughter is so spoiled. I had Audeze LCD ones, Bear Dynamic, the
Hmm.
new DT770 Pro X, the
Okay.
Stellar 45 driver,
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah.
and then the Meze 99s. And I'm trying to explain to my daughter, like, I don't know that your ears have ever touched a headphone under $100 except for when you go to school.
Unless the
Her
butt.
personal headphones are $150. What we do for
Yeah.
these listening parties, I think the cheapest headphones she's done on these have been about $150. So anyway, we're listening through, and I might have told this story already, and I apologize if you've heard this before, but I put on the Bear Dynamics, and she kind of makes a face. We were listening to Churches.
Hmm.
She kind of makes a face, and then we were listening to some Natalie Imbruglia, and she really like cringed. And I was like, okay, well, what headphone do you like better? And she picks up the Meze 99 Neo. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. I mean, well, what is it that you like? Is it that they're more comfortable? Because I like even the Bear Dynamics, they're not heavy, but they're
Hmm.
heavier than the Meze. And she like really kind of screws up her face for a second, and she says, well, on those, and she points to the Bear Dynamic, they made her voice too high pitched, and it really kind of hurt my ears.
Oh.
And then I
Okay.
said, well, then what did they sound like on the Meze? And like, oh, well, on the Meze, her voice sounded better. It sounded like how it should have, but the music was a lot darker. And I was like thinking, the Bear Dynamics are still designed to be studio cans. Their target demographic are not fresh-eared 8-year-olds. And 8-year-olds have that whole extended range, that frequency response, all of the high pitched
That
stuff.
we can't
We
hear it.
can't hear anymore.
I remember
But the
those.
bear,
Yeah.
remember, like they would have like I forget what they were called, but those like super high pitched ringtones so that kids
Hmm.
could message each other in class and not have teachers hear it. And then like stores in the mall would start playing like ultra high frequency stuff to drive kids out. It was like this whole sonic warfare thing that was happening in the early 2000s. And then I got to thinking about it. There is a high presence peak
Hmm.
on the Bear Dynamics because their Bear Dynamic is still doing that old school compensating for a closed back headphone, so they
Yep.
boost the highs And I'm sure that is like an ice pick in her brain. She has all of the extended frequency hearing that's going to be really unpleasant. I'm an old dude. It sounds fine to me. But the Meze were super, super mellow and they're a lot bassier, and she just took to those. Like, so now the Meze 99 Neos, like, anytime we do this, she's like, oh yeah, and can you get those black headphones? Yes, I can, kiddo. Yes, I can.
She has a sound profile that she appreciates and she enjoys, and you're going to see her gravitate towards something that provides her those vocals in that right tone and the right levels at the right, you know.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. It's absolutely amazing to be able to enjoy and know what your ears love. And even at that age when, like you said, they are more hypersensitive, they hear things at a different frequency.
Yeah.
And I do appreciate companies when they're putting out apps and headphones and so on, when they do the tuning for the frequency of the profile of the earbuds themselves to work for how your ears perform and what you're able to hear, so that they can tune it to your personal experience. I think OnePlus has that even on their OnePlus Buds Pro 3. There's like an ear fit test. They try to tune the frequencies to match what you're able to hear, so that you can hear the entire wavelength that you're supposed to at the right level.
So I still have we don't have to focus on this too much. I still have a problem with those types of tone listening tests where you describe like what you can hear, because I have a lot of hidden hearing loss. And when you give me an isolated, closed off listening test, I score really, really well. But that's not, like, when I'm out and about, that's really not the challenge I have when I'm listening to audio. Or it's like, what I need is, can you give me the background noise that would still cut through your noise cancellation if I were in a diner?
Okay.
And then when I'm challenged, we could see where I'm deficient, and then we could tune the audio to really fill in those gaps. But when I listen in my office and I'm listening perfectly quietly and I don't have anything competing, technically my sound profile is flat. You know, that's not accurate though. I know I'm missing stuff. So anyway, Alsa Bockley was backing us up here. Meze are a lovely, lovely listen, very musical. Bear Dynamics are hard on the ears. Like I said, I adore a technical, analytical headphone. I love an aggressively articulate headphone. But Al, you are completely correct. The Meze are mellow. They are comfy. And Michael Peppertech, this is the experience I wish more people could share. I remember the first time I listened to music with my good IEMs and I cried. It was like hearing things again. I could hear the finger slides on the guitar, which I didn't hear before. And that's one of the reasons why I gravitate towards articulation. I make this joke, but it's kind of true. I want to hear the fingertip ridges as they stroke the guitar string. Like, I want down to that level of accuracy. And when you catch something like that and it fits and your brain clicks, it is like nothing else. And every headphone is going to be different. Everyone's experience, you're going to gravitate towards a different headphone. For me, it's planar magnetic, that kind of hyper quick transient, very fast recovery, that hyper articulate sound. For my daughter, it's luscious, rich, low frequency, give her that shelf and she's in it. I mean, it's like everyone's going to have their own fit, but when you find it, and too many people just buy something that's expensive and it's nice, but it's probably not the right fit. And that's what kills me, is it's like you got to kind of play around a lot to find your right fit.
No, I'm glad. No, I absolutely. It's very, very nice to see or hear that, you know, again, she's enjoying. And as she gets older, her profile may change, but it is what it is right now. Yeah. No.
But again, just the fact that she's already building a vernacular, proud papa moment. It was like, oh, you're describing something, and you know what, you're kind of right. It's like, yes.
No, don't knock it. No, you're right. No. And that's one of those things I appreciate. Again, I tried a lot more. I mean, not on the audio side, but more so on the photography side with Omar. I try to give him more access to better tech, better capabilities, and so on. So,
well, you told me he was starting to pick up like your mirrorless gear and stuff. Like, he was interested in not just like I'm taking photos with phones, but like This
actually
is the
using
science of photography. Yeah.
absolutely. And we tried getting him into that class for the 7th period because he has 6 periods in school for his first year. And unfortunately, the school, I guess they have a policy for some reason that they don't want freshmen to take too much on for the first semester. So for first semester, he's very much not going to be able to take that class. He leaves actually a little earlier. So but as time goes on, I do want to get more better experiences in his hand, and I love the mobile experience. He's on the Pixel 8a right now, so he took that over, and he's eyeing the Pixel 9 Pro XL right now.
Well, I mean, Dad, if
I'm
you're
like,
gonna have this phone, you
no,
could
I
just
know.
kick
I
it
was
my
like,
way.
no, like the totes for reals, my bro. I got you. I'm like, but can Dad do his job first? Can I get this thing done? Then we can talk about upgrading you to the 9 Pro XL. I mean, because I was originally going to be like, hey, pick up the 8 Pro, and I was like, wait, I can't. I can't. So the he does love that he needs to understand it a little bit better, and I love the fact that it was one of his interests is to do photography. So it's nice. It is definitely very nice. But I know we're getting closer to the end of our like the over echelon of our thing. What's going on with the Asus router that you're taking a look at? I didn't even know you started doing routers again. Like I know
I
you're covering some of their gaming stuff and so on, but yeah.
So I have a buddy that this is like going back to my Newegg days, and it's interesting because like you start to get a little bit more of a behind the scenes in what's going on at a company like Asus, and they have like the actual like phone and laptop side. They have like no interest in any communication. I've done a ton of work with them. I've covered a number of their products, and they're like, okay, cool. But they're really trying to spin up more conversation on some of their accessories.
Yep.
And like I recently just had a conversation with another NAS provider,
Nice.
someone who's doing really cool work in like portable big storage. Like I just need 4 terabytes in my pocket and it can like do some cool stuff. So it's not like I'm really interested in doing a whole bunch of router and networking coverage, but portable. There's something interesting about taking a more traditional home routing solution and putting it in a shell that can almost fit in your pocket. So we were talking like, hey, it's kind of interesting. Like I've been doing all this stuff with a OnePlus. I can tap my phone to this tablet and I can share this and it can piggyback on my data connection. And my family, we've been on a couple trips recently. And it's still kind of a pain when my wife has a phone and a laptop, my daughter has a tablet, and I have 2 phones and a laptop, and sometimes 2 phones and a laptop and a tablet. And you're like, all right, this is silly. We're kind of overkill because of what I do for a living, but we're in a hotel, and every one of those has to go through that process of, okay, let's sign into the hotel Wi-Fi and let me put in my name.
And
this
sometimes
is the
you
room
can
number
only
that we're
sign up a
in.
certain number of devices on those rooms.
And then it kicks a
before
device off
yeah,
because
no,
you
I'm
went
with you.
through too many. And so their router, I was expecting to be kind of a garbage portable or light device. Actually, I've got to unplug it because the power cable isn't quite close enough for me to reach. So it's this. It's this little plasticky, super lightweight. It doesn't feel very robust or substantial. I pull it out of the box, and it reminded me a lot of those like wireless hard drives. You remember there were wireless card readers and wireless hard drives, and like Kingston made one.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I totally see how this could kind of work. I need 5 computers to share the same storage, and they're very basic networking setup in there. But that's not really like a pressing need for a lot of people. So instead, this is just a full-fledged Asus router. It uses the same software, same protocols, same security setup, same encryption, same VPN settings. Like it is no different than a premium tier Asus router. The only difference is that it's in a smaller shell, smaller antennas, smaller radios. It doesn't quite have the same range.
Oh, and
But
this solution doesn't. Yeah, you don't buy this for the range because you're typically very close to it.
the way it was described to me, it was like, oh yeah, it's like for a hotel room. Well, I set it up in our condo, and I have no issues getting internet across our entire condo. It just doesn't quite reach out to our parking lot like my business grade router can. But like I'm downstairs and I'm still connected to this and it's doing fine. And it has all of the same protocol. So again, it could be a standalone router, or it could be a repeater if you needed just to kind of do one bit of extension, or it could be part of a mesh. You could be a mesh node.
Okay.
And what's funny is it's actually cheaper than a lot of other Asus solutions for adding a mesh node. So you could just do this instead, and then when you want, you take it and you throw it in a bag, and when you get to the airport or you get to a hotel room, you plug into power or off of a power bank. It can run off of a power bank. And then every device in your family of devices goes, I know that network, and they connect to that, and you're good to go. So you don't have to do any of that. And we got to the hotel room, and I had it set up, and all of a sudden, 7 devices went, we know that network. And then I flicked this little switch, which had all of my WireGuard information and my WireGuard keys and my Surfshark set up, and boom, VPN on everything we had connected.
Nice.
And it was that. So there's this thing that we're doing, and I mentioned this, I'm going to have a review out on this tomorrow. There's this thing that we're doing where tap a phone or use a Microsoft link or something like that, and your phone can talk to one computer, and it's really, really seamless. That works great. But when you have like 6 devices, I think it's still better to do it in hardware. And then you have a full-fledged router that you can use for anything else. Right now, I'm also using this as a completely segmented, compartmentalized guest network for all of my laptop and mini PC reviews, where we're still kind of concerned about scanning for the malware and not putting things on my network. And this is really easy because I can set it up for like 10 minutes, do the tests, scan for malware, get stuff set up, and then, okay, well, it's working. I don't have to have a full-sized router kicking around just to be a separate network. So this thing has been, again, it's like, it's not sexy. You don't look at routers and think, oh, this is the most exciting thing, but the more I use it, the cooler it gets.
It needs to be, the form factor matches the use case. You need it to be thin. You need it to be small. It's traveling. It's not
super light.
At home.
Yeah.
And it's super light. You don't want it to be this bulky piece of tech that you're like, somebody wanting to take their PlayStation with them, or taking a full-fledged router from Asus where it looks like, spaceships in your backpack. I love the solution, and my solution to most of what we do typically is which most of the devices now, obviously, they all do hotspot sharing when you're connected to a Wi-Fi. So usually what ends up happening is I do all of that on my phone, but it ends up basically tying up my phone. My phone can't come with me. I can't leave the room if I wanted to leave and go get something because everybody's connected to my phone. So I understand the solution of what it does. And yeah, absolutely. This is a must-have if you travel, if you go to hotels, if you're going to family members' places, and you want to make sure things work seamlessly, not have this like, honey, we got to connect you to this Wi-Fi. Honey, you know what I mean? Like these little conversations.
So it is better. Farhan is asking, how can you use an external router at a hotel? Isn't that Wi-Fi routers in general always rely on a LAN connection? And so this is one of the smart things that Asus has done, where it can be a repeater.
Yeah.
And there is a special repeater mode. They call it the WISP mode. But basically, this acts as your hardware security buffer in between your devices and public Wi-Fi. So you will take a speed hit. It will be faster if you directly connect to some kind of public Wi-Fi, but the repeater option in this keeps all of your security settings, all of your VPN connection settings, separates you from all of the data tracking and harvesting that's going to be on the other side of that public Wi-Fi, and it just works. It's complicated. It is a full-fledged router. So I don't want to make it sound like set it and forget it. You got to go through menus and settings and options and like, do I want it to be part of a mesh node? Do I want it in WISP mode? Do I want it in repeater mode? Do I want it in WAN LAN mode? Like, you got all that. Or you could also just literally plug your phone into the USB port and then piggyback off of your 5G connection that way. And so it's not like what you're saying is like, okay, well, yeah, phone hotspot, we get that. But what if you wanted to connect way more devices off of to that one data connection, you could also do that too. Your
Yeah.
phone's going to treat it like one big pipe, as opposed to, well, you can have 5 devices connected. Well, on this, I could have like 30.
Well, plus on a router, you're able to set up your port forwarding. You're able to set up your own
Exactly.
DNS settings. There's a lot more control than what I'm getting with my smartphone. For the most part, it does just simplifies things, but it has its limitations, and I always hit those limitations when I'm traveling with my family. Now, when I'm traveling by myself, obviously, one guy, 2 phones,
Yeah.
and a laptop.
It's
doesn't.
fine.
Yeah, and I'm the when I leave,
I mean,
nobody's in back there.
The
using
way
the internet.
we travel, it could still be handy because, like, you're probably like me, where maybe it's not even 1 phone and a laptop. Maybe it's like 3 phones, a tablet, and a laptop. That can still be handy, but I totally get
what
it.
I'm using. It's what I'm testing. It's what what I may need to. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Compare it to. No,
So
I'm with you.
that can help, but it really shines when it's like me and my wife, or me, my wife, and my daughter, and then suddenly it's like I've got to keep her going because Netflix demands that we, like, log into the app again just so that she can watch the stuff that's downloaded on her tablet. But my wife is already like using our Plex server. But then I want to be able to do, like, upload a video that I've been cutting and I've got to do for work, and I just plug this thing in.
Yeah.
And really, maybe that's better, because the other thing that has been exciting, I'm only going to just kind of show this briefly. I'm not going to go through the whole spiel because I'm going to have a full video out on this next week. I got it and I was really concerned. And the first thing I did with it was hook it up to that Asus router so that I could go through scanning and protection and malware and make sure everything was all set up. But this is a new laptop from Acemagic.
Oh yeah.
And I'm going to hold this up. It could,
Let me do
if
that
you could
real
make
quick.
me big. And the frame rate is definitely going to be wonky because, it's Acemagic, so we've got a 60 hertz panel, and that's, probably messing with my frame rate here.
Well, I was going to say, I
But
think it's the light hitting the refresh rate and then the camera trying to capture.
I don't think, I'm pretty sure it's the display. The
Okay.
display is doing that banding thing. But anyway, so I've been, dealing with Acemagic. I just recently put out another mini PC review, and no outright malware, but still some concerns on how they're handling their software. And so I set this laptop up and I hooked it up to the Asus router, and things are looking even better. So we're seeing progress. Acemagic is handling their stuff better. But the hook on this is that, it's cool that you have a laptop and you have a screen, but why not 2 screens? Why not swivel a second screen around so that you can do twice as much work?
No, absolutely.
Like play a video and then do some editing, or like working on a document and a spreadsheet and have dual display, and it's all, and then when you're done you just sort of fold it closed in on itself, and then you close it up, and you have to do 2 actions to close it up, but it's because you always have a dual display laptop ready to go.
I like the approach to this. I typically, up till the point we started covering our glasses, like the Rainier Air 2S that I just dropped a video on early this week. We've been relying on solutions like this, like Zbeck, the company that we both got a chance to play with. Running multiple displays, at least for creatives, is a must. It's no longer. It's not. Yeah, it's not like a nice to have. It's a must have. And I like what Acemagic is doing here. This one is the X1.
This is the Acemagic X1. It's now it's Acemagic, so one of the strategies that they employ, we're talking about different kinds of build materials. This is the nicest Acemagic I've ever handled.
Okay.
It is built a lot nicer. It will not compare to the build quality of my $2,500 Surface laptop. I don't think it. Yeah, it's not a thing.
It is not trying to. Yeah, no, I'm with you.
But like, it's 12th gen Intel. You're definitely stepping back to find some cost savings in other ways.
Is it like an
16
i5
gigs of
or
RAM,
an i7 or
i7, but U series. So I think it's the 1255U. I think that's what it is. So again, not bad. Good single core performance. Okay, multi-core performance. Built a little bit more to kind of maximize battery life, but if you need to multitask, and I'm really kind of focusing this a bit more on things like folks who like to give presentations, doing a lot of document work, PowerPoint stuff like that, this thing is awesome. It is really fun.
It sounds
Probably not the machine you're going to want to do a whole bunch of heavy lifting 4K video editing on. Not the chipset to do that kind of work. But again, reasonably priced, and I will be detailing this in the review. I'm seeing some encouraging improvements on how they're handling their software, their licensing, and their distribution.
I like that.
So whether or not they're fully back and I can just recommend them outright, yet to be seen. But I am seeing progress on how the company is handling some of the issues that they've had in the past.
Oh no, I appreciate it, and I haven't worked with Acemagic before, but I'm also working on the mini PC that you covered already, the A8, that I'm trying to finish up.
But that Geekom is so good.
Oh, dude, seriously,
It is
no,
awesome. That is such a good.
Geekom has been my jam, and I'm actually hopefully going to be able to go to. I mean, I'm going to IFA, but I'm hopefully going to be able to check them out. They have a booth, and they're supposed to be demoing some really exciting stuff. I can't talk about yet, but I'll definitely, hopefully, share some content once it's officially announced. Or yeah, I mean, they make PCs, so obviously there's no question. Something. I'm not gonna.
Something's coming.
Something that does the computing for the puting and the pudding. No, I know. But yeah, no. With that,
went full Bill Cosby.
I heard it in my brain, and before I could stop myself, we were like talking on the pudding and the pudding, and then everybody in the show now is like, "Who's Bill Cosby?"
I wasn't planning on running that much at the end of the show.
No, we had a lot of good things to catch up with. I mean, we skipped over.
I'm just saying, like, you're going to be spending some time with Pixel 9 Pro XL.
Yeah.
You're going to be playing with one of my all-time favorite mini PCs. That Geekom A8 is incredible. What else do you have coming up? What's coming down the pipe?
A lot of so I had there's some number of backlogs that are going on. But one, I got it's not an e-bike. I want to say an e-bike, and I thought getting into it was an e-bike, but it's not. It's more of a scooter / electric bike. Like actual, like I'm saying not E to make it sound like it's a pedal. It's not a class 3. It has no pedals. So I'm starting to test it out this week. I'm hopefully going to take it out for a few rides. So I have some outdoor stuff, kind of finishing up the summer. Again, the A8.
Oh, so more like an electric Vespa.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, because when you say scooter, I think something that you stand on.
Yeah.
Like a Razor scooter. You mean more like a Honda or a Vespa scooter, like what we would see in Taiwan. Oh, wow, that's pretty. That looks like an old, like, I forget what they call that, the old style chopper.
Yeah.
Oh man, that looks like a motorcycle.
It does look like a motorcycle because it practically is a motorcycle, I think.
Dang.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking kickstand. We're talking. Yeah.
So wait a minute. So I gotta ask because I'm terrified of motorcycles. Like, is that like freeway speeds?
No freeway. I mean, no. 50 miles I think is the maximum it'll go. But
50's fast though.
50 is
on
fast.
an electric motor. That's scary.
Well, so I've done 45 miles an hour scooters.
Yeah.
So needless to say, this has better control than a scooter going at 45. No,
that's nuts.
I'll be honest, when I first part of it me not because they classified it as a scooter, and it's not a scooter, but it's kind of like a bike. So when you're riding it, it looks like you're riding a motorcycle. This takes the whole I'm riding a motorcycle to that next level. Feels the turning radius on it. I finally got it assembled. That I had to assemble that sucker to a certain, not all of it, but like, and then I had to learn how to assemble brake assembly.
I hope they work.
So otherwise we're flying down the road. Got it up to 35 miles an hour, and it was pretty decent, pretty comfortable. I mean, so long story short, it's a new type of tech that I haven't reviewed before. It's I know I've always continuously pushed my e-bike reviews to try to go to bigger, better, faster, more capable. Yeah, this just sticks the cake. This we left e-bike. It's all electric. There's no gas, obviously. Really good range, a lot of power, but that nice cruiser feel of the bike.
Yeah.
And absolute premium material, like crazy premium material, like seriously. So that
was
is the one I'm going to be
gorgeous.
working on for the next few weeks. But like that this weekend, I'll be hopefully doing some rides. Now that we have a couple of days of nice weather, I feel like this is going to be a good time for me to take it out.
Right.
Like today was nice.
Maybe break out that drone and get some good like tracking aerial shots.
There's that. I'm also asking my brother to help me out a little bit. I bought a magnetic clamp for the DJI Osmo 3. And
right
you're
on.
able to mount it to the outside part of the car and have that drive, because again, 50 miles an hour, you cannot drive next to me with anything other than a car. Unless we have another one of these, nothing else rides 35, 50. Most of the other ones that I have on e-bikes, like 28. That's the maximum, if anything. I think that's the max on the class 3 anyways. But so
nothing short, catching up to a proper bike.
There's that, the PC, the Pixel 9, the Pixel 9 Pro XL, some other stuff that I can't talk about yet that I'm also kind of starting to work on. And I do need to put out some content on the Xiaomi Mix Flip. And I'm so long story short, a lot of backlog, things that I need to try to get out before IFA, because IFA has its own things going on. And I kind of start need to plan and figure out content coverage and all of that there. It's exciting. I'm glad to be able to, make it again to IFA. It'll be my 4th time, but I don't consistently go to IFA. Like I typically don't go. So yeah, it'll be interesting. Berlin this time of the year, we'll see.
It's good. You'll have to have like a currywurst for me or something. So
you know me, I'm gonna definitely going for that doner. That'll be like the first thing I walk out.
We're going to the Ferns a turn.
Absolutely, and getting some of that curry ketchup, man. We got to try that out.
Yeah, it's so good. So we got some fun stuff coming up, folks. The nice thing is like I kind of feel it's the right vibe in just sort of spreading stuff out. Like it's been fun talking about watches and earbuds and headphones and wacky laptop concepts, and I don't know, it just feels like it was the right time to sort of shake things up a bit.
Oh, absolutely, and I think that's the exciting part. But this is, I mean, we've done a couple of nice things this week. We got a chance to hang out a couple of times, more so than what we usually do. We did a trip last week. Hopefully we'll be able to get back together, maybe go hang out and have lunch or something like that, trying to catch up.
We're definitely
non-work related. We don't have to travel somewhere to see each other, is what I'm trying to say, Brad. We got to take that thing out of the equation. Like seriously,
it would be nice to spend more time with you. I know I'm such a LA flake.
Where do you live?
It's the worst.
We're like very close, but we don't see each other. So yeah, make sure you guys, everybody, check it out. Obviously, Monday morning, Juan will be back with the SGGQA, his podcast on the channel, and hopefully we'll be back also for you guys next Thursday with more stuff, more cool things to talk about, things that we couldn't talk this week about. Hopefully, will be off the embargo list. I'm excited. I'm excited for what's coming up. Seriously, Pixel and Google and what's going on with Pixel size. I'm hoping we are pleasantly surprised with the improvements that they've done, the cooling that they're offering, and the throttling that people are talking about. Again, those are special. Again,
it didn't bother that one reviewer, so it doesn't matter, TK.
Then it doesn't matter.
There's
if it doesn't matter, then it's good. With that being said,
comparing it. So.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. We'll have to see what we can do, though. We have to do the. I'm still trying to figure out how Gemini Live says that the Geekbench doesn't matter. The source data from Gemini Live is questioned at this point.
It's great.
But we'll be back hopefully next week for another episode of the best of our week. We're at 170 right now, so we'll be back with 171. And I hope you guys are doing great. Be great. Have fun. For our early risers, already in Europe, good morning. Hope you guys have a great Friday. We're gonna crash because it's that late for us.
It's bedtime.
It is bedtime, unfortunately. But we'll see you guys next week.